Hello and welcome to the Yo Mama Cast, episode 4. Today we're here with my good friends Daniel and Johan. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
We are back.
It's
Episode
back with episode
4.
4, and we have some guests today. Brian.
Say
Hi.
hi.
Brian, you're
Hi.
gonna say hi, dog? Oh, okay. We
Hi.
have Alma.
You hear me?
Clown.
We have Alma,
Yeah, that's me.
and
that's
we
me.
also have Angie.
Hey, everybody.
And
Andy.
Brian. Brian has a little project to do, so he's gonna ask us some questions.
Hey, do you guys know what the indoctrination myth is?
Nah.
Okay.
Couldn't tell you.
Explain.
So basically what the myth is, it talks about all college kids are liberal. And we're going to be talking about that. And I'm going to ask you questions for my English 102 class. So let's just start
Gotcha.
on. Okay, so the
That sounds
first
kinda
question
hype.
is, thanks. So do you think college kids are liberal?
Do I think
No.
college kids are liberal?
No.
Mm-mm.
I feel like it
UNLV
depends
has a
on
really sorry. I think UNLV
You
has
go
a really
first.
specific culture where it's because we're the most diverse school, it's kind of forced to go to for the better
The
to
world?
be more inclusive. No, to be more inclusive of diversity, and sometimes that can be seen as liberal. And also there's a lot of people canvassing trying to get you to vote. Most notably, I've talked to the Bernie supporters a million times because they just stay outside in the courtyards and canvass mostly. So I could see why people believe the myth is because supporters really go out of their way to target the university demographic. I mean, it really depends on which college you're asking. I think we mentioned the difference
Let's talk
earlier
about
between-
UNLV and then we'll talk about my college.
Okay.
Oh, you know what?
Exactly.
Let's go around the room and say where you from. No, your name, what college you're from, your major, and your political stance. Let's do that.
All right. Who's up on the batting?
Where are you from?
Let's start with Daniel.
Yeah, no, wait. Let's do it by a certain way. Yeah, let's start with Daniel then.
Alright. Hi, I'm
Nice.
Daniel. I go to UNLV. I'm a business major and I'm a libertarian.
I'm last, so keep on going.
Okay, I'll go next. My name is Angela. I also go to UNLV. I'm a theater major with a concentration in tech and design, and I'm a dirty, stinking liberal.
Amen.
Ooh. Saucy. So my name's Alma. I'm an exploring major, and I also go to UNLV. And I'm more of an independent voter, but I lean more towards the liberal ideals.
All right. I'm Johan. Go to CSN. Woo! Art major. And I guess I lean more liberal. Yeah. So I'll say that. Yeah.
I'm Kasdan, and
Hi, Kaz.
Okay.
hi, how you guys doing? I go to UNLV. I'm a graphic design major because we got to get that art degree, and yeah, I'm a liberal.
Okay, I'm last. I'm Brian. I am from UNR. I am a political science and journalism major, and my political stance is, I guess, a liberal.
Huh. Guess case closed.
And
Okay.
All right. Now start
So
survey.
now that we got that out of the way,
Okay.
I'm just going to be asking you guys a few questions. So if you guys don't think the liberal, do you think that there's any radicalism, any extremism in college?
Yeah.
There-
Any-
There's
there's
definitely
always
some
going to be
radicalism.
radicals.
Yeah. I mean, like at UNLV, I remember seeing at one point there was a booth for radicalist Republicans, and they were all very interesting in their opinions. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was in
It
the
was
library
sort of
waiting.
terrifying.
I was in the library waiting in line, and there's a guy right in front of me who was hardcore Republican, hard leaning to the right. So, yeah, I'm pretty
You
sure
know.
No,
not all of them are liberal. I think like especially like this pool of people,
People.
is pretty liberal because of like where we are. But if we go like to some other state, I'm pretty sure it'll be completely different.
Yeah, for
Kansas.
I agree. There's a really big difference, even from UNR to UNLV, or at least from what I've heard from Brian.
Right.
Again, with the radicalism, I think I mentioned about how class was canceled one day at UNLV because somebody threatened Black people, Bernie supporters, and specifically Black Bernie supporters.
That did happen. I was very spooked, if you will.
For the record, Cass is black. Really like the point that Johan made that because we're all from the same area. Like we all have similar views. But if I ask like probably like someone down the street, their views are going to be completely different from ours. So I really think that's an interesting point that you
That's
made.
hard.
Okay. Sorry?
Nothing. I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm sure that even our views, as most of us are left-leaning and liberals, that our views are vastly different from each other, even though we are on the same sort of wavelength.
Yeah, I agree because we all might have grown up in Vegas, but Kaz's experience is not the same as Brian's experience, nor is it the same as my experience or Alma's or Daniel's or whoever's. There's just a lot of
You got it.
I don't want to say labels, but like things that affect our lives that we are predisposition to.
Okay, I actually like that. Wow. I don't. I think a thing that I would like to mention is that how because like for example a thing that I did talk about in the project that I talked about how they consider everybody who is left automatically as radical. Do you think that do you think wait, technical difficulties after reading something.
You gotta sneeze?
I'll cut that out.
That was so unfair.
I'll cut it out.
Here, come on, Kaz. I read
It's
it.
not okay for me to read it. Sorry, what was he talking about?
Oh,
okay.
Darn it. Hold on. Jogging my memory. Next question.
Okay, so do you think that college kids are going to think in a different way in a few years? Do you think that the indoctrination myth can be true, or has it ever been true? Like, for example, the counterculture. Do you think right-leaning views did to college kids? Do you think all college kids are going to be left-leaning soon, or what's your opinion on college kids in the future of their thinking?
Well, I think with that question right there, I think everyone's going to have different viewpoints down the line, regardless of being college kids or not. I think if you apply the fact of, let's say all college kids are liberal, and they're in this bubble, of course their views might change because they're going to be exposed to completely different things. I guess when it wouldn't change would be if like they just keep on going to the same bubble and just stay there. I think that's not so much the fact that college kids are liberals. it's more of people just being in bubbles. I think a lot of people like cherry pick information of what they want to hear, and they just stay like that.
I think there's always gonna be like political divisiveness, and I think it's only getting like worse as we go on. And in that case, I think it's specifically true for such a big country. And going back to what Johan said with bubbles, it's just like there's so many bubbles from the East Coast to the South to the West Coast. Just so there's always going to be just continuing conflicting opinions, whether it's Democratic or Republican, or like it morphs into a different political party system.
I agree with that, but at the same time, it's like I don't know. It's sort of it's a gray subject in the sense that life carries people in different ways depending on the things that happen to them. So like I think college students. Oh fuck! I lost my train of thought. Thank you, Emma.
It's okay.
But I don't know. I don't think college students will like push like eventually stay like left. I think it all just depends on like how their life treats them and what happens to them. Like if their rent or if their expenses get too much, they might get more rightist ideals, or like if somebody, life happens.
Okay, quick. That being in college doesn't make you any sort of liberal, like any more accepting to, or any like open to new ideas at all?
I feel like that college can change your views, but I don't think that it's specifically left or right leaning. Like,
It is not the ultimate decider.
yeah, it's just
Fair.
depends on. I feel like it just depends on where you are. Like, for example, when Johan said like the bubbles, and it depends on the group that you're around most. Like, if you're around people that are more right leaning, you're going to adopt more of their views on life. And if you're around people who are primarily left leaning, then that's how you're going to respond. It's like a monkey see, monkey do type deal.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with that.
I agree too. I think college always opens up new perspectives, like no matter where you go to college. So to say that they're going more liberal, it's really relative to where you are. Like, I don't know how to explain this, but if you are open, like Casson said, if you're in a college in like Southern California, you're probably going to be open to a lot of liberal perspectives and adopt them, rather than somewhere in like Minnesota or something.
Mm-hmm. And I think too, like at the age of going to college, I think people are more open to try to discover new things and try to understand different views. So I guess you could say that people could be more disposed to be persuaded about things. So you're at that point, it's like, I'm going to college, I'm going to try different things, different part of life. So I think you can try to be, you can be more persuaded to say per se.
To add on to that, I agree with most statements here. I think going back to what Kasdan said, it is a huge factor of the belief systems that you carry are the way you grew up and the people you were around and the environment you grew up in. That has to do both geography wise, but also society wise, where depending on the place you're in, it's going to be what they support and what they do, the things you see. It really shapes your political mindset. And going into college, everyone kind of gets pushed into this centralized area where everyone has to share their own ideas, and you hear ideas that are similar to yours and are the complete opposite of yours, and it really really moves your mind, and it really helps you think about, well, what I never thought about it that way. I never had to think about it that way. So now I'm going to open my mind a little bit, and that helps adjust your standings in terms of politics, and you really start to think differently from how you did before.
I have a
Like
question.
that.
So,
Yes.
do you think because of that, people become more radicalized?
In like by geography, do I think like there's a more like concentrated population where it's liberal? Do I think that there's more radicals in there?
Just look at New York.
Um, I don't know how New York looks like. Like I mean, I don't know like the.
It's a
I
blue
know how it
state.
looks.
The hella blue state.
Got a lot of buildings there.
Radical they get. So
I guess is what I'm saying is like the more concentrated like group of agreeing people, does that become more radicalized, or is it the divisiveness?
I think people do get a little more radical when they go to college, if not very slightly. And it has to do for a multitude of reasons, but just looking at today's landscape, you can kind of see the open-mindedness of the generation of today, right? So we really we believe in things like global warming, things of that nature, and we tend to want to do more to fix that, and that's the biggest reasons why presidential candidates or anyone who's trying to get into office, why they campaign in college campuses, is because they have college students have a more open mind, and that tends to be associated more with left leaning political beliefs.
like that. Thank you for that. I genuinely do think that wait, could you say the question one more time, Angie? Because there's something I was thinking about.
What I said was does like a concentration of people who agree like politically whatever, does that make them more radicalized, or is it the divisiveness and like political climate that makes them more divisive
I'm gonna
between
agree
like
with
political parties?
I'm gonna agree with Daniel, just because when I first came to, do you remember like what I considered myself? I remember like calling myself, oh, I'm a center. But once I got in, I realized that was bullshit. I am nowhere near the center. So this is leading up to my next question. Do you guys think as yourselves as radical? Do you think you have any radical opinions?
Yes, I think the most radical opinion I personally hold is that taxation is theft, and I 100% believe this. I don't think there's any. Huh?
I said okay.
Oh well, yeah. That'd probably be the most radical opinion I hold.
I don't think I hold any major radical views. Probably because I'm still trying to figure out, just trying to figure out like what I'm trying to figure out with my life and how I think about things. Yeah.
It's a really interesting point of view. Alma?
I'm just I'm trying to think of like my opinions. I don't think I have any myself, just because I'm still like trying to thoroughly understand like concepts of like different point of views from like immigration
Mhm.
and all that jazz. So like I want to see everybody's sides before I really make a thorough opinion of what I want to see.
Yeah,
So,
I think I got some radical opinions, but I don't have them on the top of my head. And I'm pretty sure most
wait,
of these...
Johan,
Huh?
damn it.
I'm just saying, I'm pretty
What
sure I
would
do have some. They're not on the top of my head. And
would
if I had them, all of them are going to be very lopsided and just ignorant points of views on stuff. As Alma said, it's like... I would like to know both sides, but like of course everyone has their views as of now. I'm pretty sure I have some pretty radical ones. I don't have them top of my head at this moment, though, unfortunately.
Well, I do. Let me tell you something.
All right,
Ooh,
inform us. Okay.
Agree.
that
Me
was
too.
confidence.
Okay, so
I like
I'm
that.
pretty passionate about climate change. I really like. Well, I don't like climate change. Climate change is bad, but I really
Oh,
like
wait,
that.
no. Climate change is
Politics.
a no-go with me. Yeah, that's right. Go, Angie.
You don't believe?
Oh, I
climate-
believe. I thoroughly fucking believe that shit.
Okay, so yeah,
We
yeah.
need
Climate
polar
change is
bears
like
alive.
there's no like two sides to it. It's not. It shouldn't be political, but it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much what I'm passionate about. And it just sucks that it has to go through such a political process to just try to save our planet and save humanity. But I'm pretty passionate about that. There you go.
Okay.
I got one. One came to mind.
So when people talk about like the politicization of stuff, like let's say for example, let's just say healthcare. People say, you know what, if having free healthcare is radical, then I guess I am or whatever. Do you consider that a politicized that seem what's it called normal to the left but radical to the right is a thing that should happen, that shouldn't happen, or just
Can you repeat that?
okay. So my question was things that are seemed as radical towards the right but not towards the left, like free healthcare or whatever,
Yep.
Human
or
rights.
Okay.
human rights.
Like,
Whoa,
Right.
Angie.
That's a whole can of
Yeah.
worms.
Pop off.
Go
coming
off,
out,
queen.
coming out, you guys.
The fucking queen over here.
Go.
Um,
Talk.
And you gonna speak?
yes, I think that is what's calling like our political divisiveness is like who should have rights and who should not. And to say this, and it's probably going to draw a lot of conservative people to automatically disregard my arguments, but I just want to say that quality shouldn't be as controversial as it is. I think having a good, happy life shouldn't be as controversial as it is. For example, like immigration. For example, like living past 2050 and with climate change, it shouldn't be as divisive. It should not. It's not a. It's not an argument. It's not a debate. It's human lives.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. Anybody else want to add to that?
I thought of a radical view. I'm very strong on abortions. They should be completely legal. I am not for banning abortions. I think it's ridiculous that states have banned abortion. It's absurd.
That would be a view that is like commonplace on the left, but very radical to the right, because it's everything's becoming so partisan these days. It's like everyone just wants to fight over things that really could be seen as just common sense and common rights that people should have, like healthcare and the climate. But it's like people just want to be able to, I guess, monetize everything.
You
I
know,
feel like money is the underlying issue.
Well, it's also nice to have your opinion just like reverberated in a group, and just to be in a social group. It's like, yeah, we agree with this too. Oh, that's awesome. Just keep on hearing the same thing over and over.
no, I sort of agree with you on that. And I can, you know, those two sort of connect because I remember once I was canvassing and I was talking to this lady and she was a very Republican woman. And I was having a discussion with her about some, I don't even remember, but I remember I was trying to like tell her like a liberal point of view and she would not answer me. she was sort of being like she was very ignorant. She just wouldn't listen to me, and she'd be like, "Nope." She would close me off instead of like actually like having a conversation. I think she'd rather hear her own thoughts and agree with herself than to hear something different. And it's like it's
Yeah, because I think if you
Yeah.
build your whole mindset about a certain worldview, and someone comes up with, let's say global warming for an example, like for a lot of people it's not something that's real, and you hold this belief. So why believe the truth when you can be comfortable in believing this lie? Like your whole worldview will shatter of that. So like it's just not what's the word, a viable decision to just do that. Like for people's sanity, it's like, oh no, this thing I believed for the whole time, I look like an idiot. So instead of looking like an idiot, I might as well just, nope, you're wrong, I'm right, you're the idiot, I can't be wrong.
Because humans are so used to
Infowars.
comfort.
Mhm.
Infowars are terrible. It's like a whole like show on just making people look stupid because of what they believe in. Oh my god, I hate Infowars. But anyways,
Very
I
entertaining.
never watched InfoWords.
It's crazy.
Is it?
Is
Is it like Ben Shapiro talking? Because I watched
No.
I
So
like Ben Shapiro talking.
Ben Shapiro is like he's an actual political analysis. I may not like him, but he's a political analysis nonetheless. Alex Jones is a conspiracy theorist.
Oh,
He said things like for example the Parkland shootings. He said that those were faked. He said that Obama was putting chemicals in water that were turning frogs gay. It's like he's just. He also said Sandy Hook was fake too. He said the Boston Marathon bombing. He said that was staged and a false flag. He's an insane man.
He
Yeah,
also
he
sells
believes in
products.
aliens. Yeah,
He
he
aliens.
sells
I know he's something about
supplements.
aliens. He has
He-
something about aliens.
He also went
I don't
in the
think-
court to fight for getting his kids, and he
Oh.
said that he forgot facts about his kids because he ate a very, very spicy bowl of chili that morning, and he forgot things about his kids. That's a
Oh.
true
Is it
thing,
made
by
He
the
has
way.
kids?
He has
Was
kids.
it made by the frogs?
Was it made by the frogs? Amen.
No, it was made by devils, and the devils made it too spicy that it made him lose his mind.
Is liking Ben Shapiro a radical thought?
To some people on the left, yes.
Wait, is Ben Shapiro radical?
No, is he?
Debatable. That's very debatable.
Because he has a lot of controversial opinions, but
He does.
his mannerisms and the way he presents himself is just very entertaining to watch. He seems really intelligent, so it's just nice to
love
watch
his
him
voice.
speak. I think he made a video on how to. Someone made a video about him, about how well he defends himself in a debate. How he locks his opponents off and doesn't make mistakes that people make in debates. So he's really good at debating.
I don't think
Never
he's
done
good
it.
at.
Wow.
I don't think he's good at actually pushing an argument, but he is very good at defending his argument.
Yeah, he is never the
I
clown.
think he's like a. I mean, I may not agree with him, and I kind of don't like him, but I do think that he's very good at debating for sure.
Mhm. Like his last name too, Shapiro.
Okay, so Brian, do you have any more questions?
Another question that I do have is, what's it called? Do you wish college kids do you wish that they were more liberal? Do you wish that they were more radical?
No. It really just depends on how. Of course, everyone wants to say, "Oh yeah, I'd love if they would come over to my side of the spectrum, so that way then my side gets more votes, and therefore my candidate wins." Right? But
Uh-huh.
I hate how everyone just wants to push their side without thinking about what the other side actually has to offer. Because it's like an echo chamber almost.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was saying.
I agree too. I think I don't really care about radicalism. I mean, I get it, radicalism, liberalism. I think the solution would just be partisanship, just better communication and like cooperation between both political parties. Because as Kazan said, both parties do have something to say. Like, yeah, majority rules, but minority rights, kind of thing. So I just partisanship and cooperation is, I think, would be the best solution.
Which will never happen.
Mm.
Being blunt.
Mm.
I don't know.
There are
about
too many
that.
people in this world to make it happen.
There is so many of just people just being very ignorant and just not wanting. It's so funny. Instead of evolving and being more open minded, I think it's reverting back steps and just being more closed minded and stuff. Flat Earth.
I think I read something about like the Democratic Party being more willing to compromise, and the Republican Party more pushing their agenda. So what ends up happening is that the Democratic Party, like for example, in a Republican majority House, in the Republican majority Senate, what tends to happen is that the Democratic Party ends up compromising beliefs to get something done, and ultimately just keep going with the Republican agenda.
I definitely feel like bipartisanship is near impossible just based off of views of people. Like, for example, Daniel D believes that taxation is theft and just despises taxes. But I think that taxes, to a certain extent, are a good thing for A, the economy, and B, for social services like cops, firemen, hospitals. It's just everything needs to be funded somehow, and that's the only way it's going to happen. But like, the way that if Daniel was a senator and I was a senator, we'd never agree on anything.
Daniel wouldn't be a senator.
I definitely wouldn't. I think the fact that everyone has their own views on every issue, because not everyone, you can have a very similar view, but at to a certain extent, everyone has their own personalized view on everything. Okay, and I think that's a good thing, despite me disagreeing 100% with what Casson just said, because I do disagree 100%. It's good that he has that opinion, so that way, when if in a situation it were to go down on the Senate floor or somewhere, any branch of government, anything, the fact that the discussion is happening, I think that's a very good thing. That's how we move forward, not only as a country and as a society, but as people.
Discussion is always key.
I agree. Before any change happens, there has to be a conversation about it, and I'm glad that climate change is gaining a lot of traction.
But with a conversation, there's also the willingness to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't seem like the country does have that will to listen at all. If
Not
anything,
yet.
they're just walking away from it. They're getting more and more like into their bubbles.
Have y'all
With
seen
earmuffs.
what's happening with the NATO thing?
Oh yeah, how people are calling Trump, or like basically backstabbing Trump and laughing at him the whole time,
Yeah,
and then
the
going
Canadian
It's very unfortunate.
Prime Minister, the French one, some other lady. I forgot. They were like having like a conversation.
Oh, are
Just,
those
like,
all the memes that
Merkel?
I've been seeing?
Yeah, like making fun of him. And
Yeah.
That's what it's.
yeah, and then
Oh.
Trump's like, yeah,
No,
and
it's just
then he took
regular
some jabs. Everyone's just taking jabs at everyone. Trump called the French Prime Minister a clown or something.
When is he not
Oh,
calling
I love
anyone
politics.
anything? He always has a
Okay.
name for someone.
Okay. Before
class.
we end this, does anybody want to add a point or add a question or something?
Mm,
Just
Plug.
I don't know. Like my thoughts on the matter, like college is a very good place to find your views, but it's not a place that it'll give your views to you on a platter. Like it also just depends on where you are and how you're living. It's like it's just a stepping stone and not the final like
Yeah, it's like hand yourself a brochure of a bunch of stuff for you to just browse.
where you
At the end
find
of the day,
yourself. Guys.
a lot of people will present a lot of different ideas to you. It's up to you to think critically and form an opinion on them. I may be very liberal, but as long as you consider all sides of an argument, I think you should be whatever the hell you want to be.
It just really depends on your background. At least like where you start. It feels, at least to me, it feels like your background will define where you start, and then where you go from there is up to your own critical thinking.
I think that's
Okay.
what college is about. It's like, I think high school's like really like fed here's content, and then college is like here think about it. You know.
Okay, I really like that
Um,
point.
It's a very,
Okay.
very good.
totally, 100% agree.
yeah.
So
just-
before we go, is that all the thoughts we have?
Is that everything?
Okay. Then thank you so much for listening to my podcast about the indoctrination myth. You can end it now, Cass.
Hey, all right. Thank you
Okay.
thank you everyone for being here. Thank you to our guests. Just clap
Wait,
it up,
wait.
clap it up. Yeah.
Wait.
Ah, let's go.
Cass. Just
Yeah.
so you know, we can still keep talking, but the podcast, my podcast ends there. That's it.
All
Okay.
right. So all right.
Okay.
So
Guys,
that
welcome
that ends
back to the
Brian's
podcast.
portion of the podcast.
Okay, thank God.